Creating wealth starts with knowing how to handle money. I'm Anthony Peluso, founder of Wealth for Life. I've built my own multi-million-dollar property portfolio and helped thousands of Australians achieve their financial goals. I get asked hundreds of questions, and here are my answers. Ask Anthony. Hi guys, Anthony Peluso here, CEO and founder of Wealth for Life and Australian property expert. And today we're going to talk about the property market. Where are we with regards to the Australian property market and what they call the property clock? Okay, so are we at the top? Are we at the bottom? Are we moving up? Are we declining? Okay, so every and the thing with property too. Depending on where you're buying or where you live, there's your particular area will be at a different part on the property cycle, on the property clock. Okay, so you got the heat of the market, the top of the market, then you've got the bottom of the market, and you've got a rising market and a market that's declining, and that's different for every part or every major city and town in Australia. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, obviously, you want to be buying property in a rising market when you're at the bottom of the market just about to take off. That's the best time to actually buy property. Why? Because you get to take advantage of all the gains that are ahead. Okay. The worst time to buy is in a market that's declining. Okay. Now I'll talk more about that on other episodes, but it's important to understand where we are as a country, and Melbourne, and let's say Sydney, as cities right now with regards to the property market, with the property cycle, okay? Because that will dictate, well, it has a big say in what your portfolio and what your strategy is going to do moving forward, but also you get to understand whether you have the power right now when it comes to negotiating, okay? It's a very important part of buying. So is it a seller's market? Is it a buyer's market? And again, depending on where you're buying, it's a different market. So let's get started. Okay, so I've said this for quite a few times. I believe the bottom of the market in Australia as a whole, right, was the day or the night before the federal election. I think, 17th, 18th of May, 2019. It was a suppressed market because you had most Australians glued to the TV, not knowing which government was going to get in, if they were going to tamper and mess around with negative gearing, capital gains tax, and if the Labor government got in, property investors were doomed. If the coalition held its seat, its position as Shomo held his position, what did that mean for the property market? So a lot of people basically sitting in fear, not knowing what to do. Okay. And we're talking to lots of clients around that time. Oh, let me wait until what happens on Saturday at the federal election. And the funny thing is, when Scott Morrison held his position and the coalition held power, the next Monday you could just see the optimism in the market. Okay, I think it was the 20th of May. Real estate agents were jumping about, developers were calling us. It was crazy, right? Because at that point, most people had certainty. Okay, and I understand that you probably always want to operate. You actually always want to operate from a position of certainty. Okay, so we've had a market since late May slowly starting to creep up. Now I'm talking more so around Melbourne and Sydney. Okay. And if you paid attention to any of my videos in the past, you'll know that when it comes to making money in real estate, and I stress the word making money in real estate, Melbourne and Sydney are probably the only markets you want to consider, okay? So right now, I see Melbourne and Sydney at the start of a recovery, okay? So I'm going to put this slide up for you to have a look at, right? And if you can have a look at the top of the market there, right? And I'm talking about now October 2019. I don't know if I necessarily invest in areas like Dubbo, Sunshine Coast, or Tamworth, or Wodonga, right? But they're right now at the top of the market, okay? A lot of those country towns, okay? And as we start to head clockwise, right, you've got obviously a declining market. Now, Coffs Harbour is an interesting one. because I know there's a lot of activity going on in Coffs Harbour, a lot of construction. Then you've got a declining market in South Australia and WA. Well, that makes perfect sense. Broome, Geraldton, Gold Coast and Southern Timberlands. So I'm going to call it right now. I've never seen anyone make a lot of money in the Gold Coast, okay? For a lifestyle purchase and to live there because we want more sun and less of this Melbourne weather, sure, it's a great place to live. But I'm talking purely about making money, capital growth, cash flow, you know, making money in real estate. Gold Coast has never worked, okay? Now you'll get people that'll argue that conversation and they'll give you some statistics and they'll give you some data to invalidate my point. But the reality is, if you look at over the last 15, 20 years, compared to Melbourne and Sydney, it's done nothing, all right? Then if we hit towards the bottom of the market there, you've got Perth, Rockhampton, Southern Highlands, Toowoomba, Alice Springs, Bundaberg, Darwin, Ipswich. Really small markets. You're not going to have a lot of effect investing in those markets, okay? You're not going to create a lot investing in those markets. But now this is where it starts to get really exciting. Look at the start of the recovery, okay? Melbourne, Newcastle, again, lots of work going up in Newcastle. Port Hedlands over there in WA. Sydney, Townsville, Whitsunday. Brisbane, Cairns, Geelong, Gladstone, Illawarra, Mackay. Now, let's look at the major cities there. Melbourne and Sydney, okay? As I've said, going back almost 12 months, I predicted that the market would be where it is right now. Have a look at my Facebook videos from November last year, okay? You've got the Melbourne and the Sydney markets right now really starting to take off in a major way and recovering much faster than anybody ever predicted, okay? So now would make perfect sense to get into the property market in Melbourne and Sydney. Take advantage of the wave, take advantage of the growth that's about to take place, right? Don't wait to get to the peak of the market and then say, hey, you know what, that Peluso guy from Wealth for Life, maybe I should start taking his advice. Sure, it's always a good time to buy, but you know what? Make your gains now. Take advantage of the growth now. You know, timing is everything. Now, people will tell you that it's time in the market. That's true. But you know what? You'll eventually, if you hold on to property long enough, you'll go through all these cycles multiple times. But if you can have your growth and your cash flow now, why wouldn't you? Why wait 3 years? Okay, why wait another 4 years to come all the way back again? If you can have your cash flow and your growth now, why not? What could you do with money right now, right? So in a rising market, take advantage of, you know, there are some places in Melbourne and Sydney, if you know where to buy, you can still get bargains, negotiate terms and conditions, price points. And if you know where to look, you know, you can get real estate that performs above the average, okay, better than what the average does, and that's where we're experts. People say to me, Anthony, tell me one of the things that you guys do better than anyone else. We do a lot of things better than most, okay? We've been doing this for 20 years. Most of my staff are investors here. You know, we don't play part-time. We're a full-time gig here, okay? We're investors ourselves. We're buying real estate for ourselves, and then we're putting, you know, portfolio strategies together for our clients, okay? One of the things we do really well is we're able to buy in areas, right, that follow certain fundamentals and principles to give extraordinary growth and cash flow, okay? Based on 4 factors that we look at when we go out and buy property. So if you can get into those areas there, your portfolio, your real estate does much, much better than the average, okay? The ones that can't tell the difference between good and bad real estate. $300,000 in 14 months. $200,000 passive income for the rest of your life when you stop working. $200,000 in capital growth over a 2-year period. These are some of the results that our clients have achieved over the last 12 months. We're going to be running some special events in a town, in a city near you over the coming weeks called an Evening with Wealth for Life. Get in the market right now and take advantage of the ride that's about to take place. Go onto our website or call us on 1300 793 877 and make a time to book in and come to one of these events. So look at that rising market there, or the start of the recovery. That's exactly where Melbourne and Sydney are right now, September, October 2019, okay? Great time to buy because you're going to take the rise, the growth all the way to the peak of the market, okay? So right now, you probably wouldn't want to be buying real estate if you're in Albury, Canberra or Bathurst, right? And actually, I know some people buying buildings in Canberra and they're having a hard time negotiating price points right now because it's at the peak of the market. So very important to understand where you are in the property cycle every time you're making a purchase, okay? Because it does have an impact on your strategy. It does have an impact on your exit and entry into the market. But it also helps you to know how you're going to perform in the short term as well, okay? And obviously, it's really good to understand what drives these certain positions or points in the market, okay? So right now, if you're in Melbourne and Sydney and you're looking to get in the market, there is no better time. I keep saying this, and funny thing is, every time I make a comment like this, I see the media release something almost identical to what I've just said. So you know, it's not rocket science, okay? Interest rates right now are at an all-time low, you know. I'm seeing, 2.7% principal and interest in some cases. Even interest-only loans right now are hovering below or hovering around that early 3%. Take advantage of that cheap money. Why would you want to borrow money and pay more than what you have to? Okay? Now, you know that once money is this cheap, and assuming that people can get credit, okay? Listen, guys, don't think that banks are just going to give money to anyone. That's not what I'm saying, okay? You still have to qualify, and their lending criteria is harder than ever, okay? You will earn the right to get a loan if you get a loan in today's market, okay? But my point is, get yourself in a position where you can get a loan. Why? The money's cheap. I sat down with a client last night. We're doing a feasibility, and I said to him, I said, Sam, you see, you are cash flow positive before tax. Positive cash flow real estate before tax. You don't need the gearing, you don't need the depreciation. You are cash flow positive before tax, okay? In good real estate. So that's the impact of really good interest rates, okay? So interest rates are at an all-time low. Take advantage of that, okay? Get your money to work for you. The result of interest rates being this low is you're going to have a property market that's going to start rising and doing quite well. It's the effect of interest rates being where they are, okay? So you've got two options. You sit there as a spectator and watch while people around you build wealth because you keep saying to yourself, I don't have time, I'm too busy, I'm scared, I want to do something else. All right? You're only kidding yourself, right? Get into the market right now and take advantage of what's coming up over the next 2-3 years. Do it sensibly though. Don't go making uninformed purchases. Do your homework, do your research, your due diligence. Come and talk to a company like us. Be sensible in your approach. Okay, so make sure you're not just doing anything for the sake of doing it. Right? Be sensible in your approach, but do it fast. Okay, successful people make informed decisions extremely fast. Okay, there's no grey areas for these people. It's black or it's white. There's no maybes, there's no grey area, okay? I look at a deal right now, I get a deal presented to me, 15 minutes all I need for a complex deal, and it's straight away. And I don't go thinking about it after I've made a decision. Oh, maybe I should have, no. I have my criteria, I know what works. More importantly, I know what doesn't work, and bang, and I make a decision, okay? And it's done. And I never worry about it afterwards, okay? I'm not one of these guys that 2 hours later, hey, you know what, maybe we should have taken, no. Make your decision, informed decision. So you've got to have knowledge, right? You've got to understand what you're doing. You've got to have knowledge in this subject, right? Look for where the risks are, take that right level of responsibility, and then crunch. And you know what? The answer can be no, but it can never be a maybe. It's yes or it's no. Maybes are what kill you. okay? Because maybes just keep floating around in your head, okay? It's not no, it's no, no, it's not yes. It's not no, it's not yes, it's maybe. And it's like, so you constantly just, have this have this conversation going on with yourself. So take advantage of what's going on in the market right now. Getting access to cheap credit, okay? Rents are strong, right? Your competition is first homeowners, okay? It's never investors, it's first homeowners, guys that can finally see light at the end of the rainbow, right? If they've got enough to put a deposit aside, or mum and dad can help them out, great time for them to get in the market. Interest rates below 3%, okay? It's the opportunity to finally get into their own home. That's your competition if you're an investor, okay? Those people will push property prices up because the government has lots of incentives for first homeowners. It is easier than ever right now for a first homeowner, an owner-occupier, to get into the market. They have more advantages, you could say, than investors, okay? Investors will beg to differ, right? But that's your competition, because that's where the masses are, okay? So that's who you're up against when you're sourcing real estate. Now, these guys are going to drive the property market up, okay? Interest rates are cheap. If they can get access to credit and have a deposit in hand, these guys are flying, okay? And you, sitting there as a spectator, ask yourself, how long are you going to sit there as a spectator? At some point, if you want a piece of this, right? If you want to create a good quality of life for you and your family, at some point, you've got to get out of the stands and get on the ground and play this game, okay? You ain't going to make any money in the stands. You'll have a lot to say, you'll have a lot of excuses, you'll justify your position quite a lot, why now's not the right time, and funny thing is, it's never the right time for certain people, whilst people out on the ground are just making a killing, all right? Number one, you want to know how to pay off the mortgage on your home in the fastest possible way. How about understanding and learning how you can become debt-free forever? Imagine paying less tax and having more money going into your pay packet every fortnight. What about securing your financial future in your retirement so you never have to worry and stress about money ever again? These are the things that we go through with you in a one-on-one consultation. Some of the results that we've achieved for our clients by sitting down with us one-on-one, we had one couple who created $300,000 in 14 months. We had another gentleman who's gone on to amass a fortune in real estate that's going to pay him $200,000 per annum for the rest of his life when he stops working. These are just some of the things that come out by sitting down with our advisors in a one-on-one consultation. Get your goal planning and you get your financial planning and your goal setting right in 2019. Take advantage of the tremendous opportunities that exist in the Australian property market right now. Call 1300 793877 or visit wealthforlife.com.au and book an appointment in with one of our investment advisors to get your money right in 2019. Conditions have never been so good. If you understand where we are in the market right now, Melbourne and Sydney, start of a recovery, interest rates are at a good place. Some would question the economy is in a bit of trouble. Unemployment should be, unemployment needs to be a little bit lower compared to where the government would like it, or where it is right now. But that's the reason for interest rates being where they are, by the way. But take advantage if you're an investor of interest rates, get into the market, do your homework, and you'll get some good growth and cash flow if you're buying in the right areas and you're buying the right properties in the short term. Okay? How do I know that? I follow patterns. I understand the market. I understand what drives the market. I've seen this happen many, 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 many times. Okay? So, any questions regarding this episode, feel free to share. I love the feedback, love the questions you guys you guys send in. Some a little bit cheeky, but even the guys that don't agree, I'd love to hear your feedback, right? In terms of your, in terms of your viewpoint on what we've discussed today. So enjoy. Have a look at what's going on in the market, guys. Even the media now is starting to back a lot of the things we're saying here at Wealth for Life. Now, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but one thing you don't want to do is wait and wait and wait and then get in at the peak of the market, okay? At the peak of the market. Because that's when the smart people are doing something else, okay? So, hope you enjoyed this episode of Ask Anthony. We love bringing it to you every Tuesday. If there's anything you want me to discuss, any topics you want me to cover off on, yeah, just text me, SMS us, email us, make some comments on our Facebook page. Share it with people out there that you think need to understand and know this information, because they don't teach it in school. And have a look at what our clients are doing. Sometimes I say to people, you know what? Don't even listen to what I say. Don't even listen to what I tell you. Just go talk to our clients and have a look at the results we've achieved for them, not just in the short term, but in the long term. Have a look at how well they have prospered from working with us, okay? That's the greatest testament to our success. And you know what, at the end of the day, they're the people that give us our brand and our reputation. It's almost, don't listen to what we say at Well for Life. Have a look at how well our clients are doing. Okay, that should tell you that we focus on results in this company. All right, guys, hope you've enjoyed the episode. Have a great day, and we'll talk soon.